Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here, and today I'm joined by Samuel. We're inside his LEGO collection room here, and there are some incredibly rare LEGO collectibles, a lot of Star Wars, but really some of everything. Got an impressive wooden toy collection here, so thank you so much for having us in and letting us take a look at some of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you guys here and show you around.
So we'll take a look at this case over here, but before we do real quick, I know you put a lot of this on Instagram, so what's your Instagram if people want to kind of see more about this and follow you there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I post all my stuff that's in here and then new things that I add to the collection, so it's rarest_Lego_minifigures, so feel free to follow.
Perfect. Yeah. So we can start up here then with this section, and just what do we have here?
For sure. So I'd be happy to open this cabinet here for you. So this is kind of some of my rarest LEGO Star Wars pieces, so a lot of these were promotional giveaways or internal circulation figures for employees themselves. So in the back there, that's a bronze C-3PO. It's from the 2007 San Diego Comic-Con. It's one of one. And then here in the front, there's without certificate. I have the solid gold and sterling silver C-3PO minifigures also from 2007 giveaways. Again, no certificates, but I got those from the employee that kind of put on the whole promotion. And then the George Lucas and Greedo minifigures are both internal circulated items, and I know there's actually a talk-up about both of them in the new Force of Creativity book that's coming out here in July. I know the George Lucas, they finally admitted how many they made. It was one of 50. I still don't know for the Greedo one specifically. And then over there to the left is Chrome C-3PO, again from 2007. That was one of 100 specifically released in that kind of cardboard packaging with the plastic wrap around it from in Australia, just because I think they have to do giveaways differently than the one of 10,000 that goes into the boxes here in the States and Europe. Then as you move your way down, those are all my solid metal R2-D2 minifigures, and it may look like I'm a hoarder, but they are all separate and different. So the second shelf there is the 3 different versions of the sterling silver R2-D2. As far as I can tell, they all look similar, but the certificates are different. So one of them is actually numbered and says 3 of 10. The one in the back says sample, and there's 2 of those that were made. And then the one in the front was made for the employee that put on the promotion itself, and that says 1 of 1 prototype. And then lower than that is the other 2 versions of the R2-D2 that were given out as giveaways in the late 2010s. So it's the 1 of 5 platinum and then 1 of 1 white gold. And I have the little VIP black card in there because that was how you won or got entered to win the giveaway for the white gold one. And then there at the bottom is the first LEGO Star Wars set that was ever made. And it's actually, that one is specifically a prototype for the ones that were given out to invitees at the New York Toy Fair that year. Just because Luke is holding a blue lightsaber, and an interesting part about it is that his lightsaber actually has a rounded tip rather than it was cut off for ones they actually ended up releasing in sets and stuff like that. Which I think it's a rounded tip for the other ones, but again, mine's kind of an earlier version, and that's its original box there to the right that says to open it immediately. And then there in the back, that's just a white Boba Fett promotional giveaway. That was also a VIP or now Insiders giveaway. I forget how many years ago that was. I think maybe it was 2020. I could be wrong, but something like that, yeah.
Starts to run together, a lot of these promotional things. There's been a lot of years of Star Wars.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot of years of Star Wars, lots of cool special pieces and stuff.
Now, I think the question that, looking at some of this stuff begs is obviously, how do you track this stuff down? Because you're talking about 1 of 1, just incredibly rare LEGO items here. So are you kind of scouring the internet all day, or how do you find a lot of this stuff as we go through the rest of the collection?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of those pieces, I'm fortunate to have an Instagram page that, a fair number of people follow, and at this point, the collection has grown so much that, I think people like to add to the collection to some extent if they have something rare to sell, and, they know I'm good for it to they offer a fair price and, something where it kind of finds a forever home to some extent. And I do a lot of searching, reaching out to people that may have won an item or something if they post it publicly, and reaching out and trying to get in touch with them to see if they'll sell. Never try to be pushy about it. a lot of these items it's a lot of patience, and sometimes it's just years of waiting for someone to come around to the idea of selling it. But making sure that I'm always available for that moment, and having been collecting for 15 plus years pretty seriously, I think has given the opportunity to be a name, I guess, a little bit in the sphere that people will reach out to me about stuff. Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, we can move on to the second shelf here then, and I think we kind of move away from some of the Star Wars in here.
We do, yeah. So this is kind of a all different kind of assortment cabinet. At the top is just a lot of promotional pieces, or more kind of, again, like employee gifts. Most of like kind of solid metal pieces. So to the left there is solid gold bricks that were given to employees in Germany in kind of like the 90s if they had 25 years of service or had done something extraordinary for the company. And I got some paperwork for one of them specifically talking about an employee that did a lot of corrective work and fixing of a lot of their like molding machines and stuff like that for many years. And then there's a couple other like little gifts that are mostly sterling silver. One that has to do with Legoland in Billund, in terms of like being part of the marching band. And there's a little card that came with it as well. I forget. I think that the date is on the card. Yeah, 1968. And then you can see there in the front, those are actually just like the regular VIP or insider keychains that you could spend some points for. But in the back is an older like Legoland keychain as well. That's more vintage. And that's also like a 5-year employee gift, that watch back there. A couple little like key pins. This is for Gottfried's, had like a birthday party and has a button. So those are his initials there. And then one of the cooler items in the collection, so that's one of the original ink stamps for old Kurt Christensen, so the founder of Lego. So things pretty old, I think probably from 40s or 50s, but it's hard to know. I'm sure he had several ink stamps, but that's one that's survived, I guess, for this long.
Very cool. And something like that obviously is probably like a lot less known than maybe the Star Wars stuff that we were just looking at. So where are the marketplaces for that type of a thing that you go looking for something like a stamp from him?
that's truthfully, that's like knowing the right person or people. It wasn't like on a public marketplace or anything like that. Just found someone that has internal connections to Lego in his past, and then they were willing to sell it. And
gotcha.
Again, another thing where I had to have some patience, and it took some time, but eventually they ended up wanting to sell it to me, which was great.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can track all that down.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Takes a lot of time and effort, but it's worth it in the end. And then here lower is, this is kind of like my little theme to space, or items that have been to space for Lego. So in the back, that was a little Life on Mars alien. I believe there's 300 in total that went to the International Space Station and were aboard there for just a little period of time. And it has like a little certificate with it, which is kind of fun. At one point, I wanted to try to collect, like they have different alien versions on there, and I wanted to try to collect a lot of them, and I think I had 4, and I realized it was just never going to stop, because I'm sure there's just so many unique versions, so I said I'm just going to stick with one. This is a more recent one. They sent them up on one of those balloons that I guess that goes into the whatever layer of the atmosphere, and then gave them out to people in the Czech Republic, and there's 1,000 of those. The little space set is a pretty new addition, actually. So that was given out at like the Lego designer convention or whatever, I think in Denmark. And you can see there's a large not for resale sticker on there. But the only exclusive piece of that really would be the kind of instruction manual. And then there's the little tile that I think has the date of the convention itself, which I think is May 2023. And then these things in the front, mostly, not really super exclusive, but has to do with that piece in the back, just the alien launch and all that. Although this figure right here, so that was one of the kind of prototypes for the pieces that were made out of aluminum and put on the Juno spacecraft. So they had 3 separate ones, and I was able to get a hold of that one, which is pretty great.
Yeah, those old alien designs are so iconic now, very unique.
Yes, very much so. I like them. They have they're not rare at all, but they're in the cabinet, so why not? And then a little bit lower here, these are just some other kind of exclusive pieces. So Lester in the background is, kind of the mascot, I guess, for I always say it wrong, that store in the UK.
The Leicester Square store?
Thank you, Leicester Square. So that's the 3 different versions of the Leicester figure. So the person that was involved in the creation, basically, of the mascot, the one on the left is actually one of 10 that were made when he was first like, you guys don't have a mascot for this largest ever store. I can't believe it. Or they basically had pictures of the mascot, but they didn't have a Lego figure for it, and they couldn't believe it. So they swiftly put that one together. And then the ones to the right of it are actually relatively identical, but the story behind them is different because I guess the bowler hat that he wears, they had very few of them, and they scrounged them from like all across the world to try to get them together, to put together, I think it was 325 or something Leicester figures that they put in those little blister packs that they gave out and were numbered. I think they were numbered out of 275, but then they had like 50 extra copies. And then the one on the right is actually the polybag version that they made a lot more of, which there was a Ninjago set that they released that had the bowler hat in it, so then they were able to mass produce it a lot more. And then these are kind of other like VIP giveaways. So the 2015 manager conference, zombie female and zombie male, and there's like a little exclusive poster that was only given out at the brand retail manager conference in 2015. Then there's a Batman with a tile signed by Will Arnett, one that was graded by UK Graders, that was also a giveaway, but then one that was more original in like the packaging, that was reportedly is 1 of 5, but I've never actually seen something specifically from Lego that said that. It was more of just a he said, she said. And then also not super rare, but just a little tin kind of announcing the Lego movie and trying to promote it, its original release, but it's a fun little piece, so I like to have it there.
You mentioned something interesting there with that, with kind of the 1 of 5 idea, and anything with kind of rare collectibles is the idea of like proving its history and kind of how many were made, that kind of thing. So how difficult is that with a lot of the collection in terms of getting that? Yeah,
challenging for sure. You know, fortunate with a lot of the Star Wars pieces, you know, it says it on the certificates and stuff like that, which makes it easy. And again, I, you know, said it earlier for like George Lucas. I knew it was limited and rare, but I had no idea like the exact number until now they've shared it in the Force of Creativity that there was exactly, you know, 50 that were made. So that gives a little bit more information to it. But yeah, these like gold bricks up here, someone said, oh, 1 of 10, 1 of 20. And, you know, you just don't know because it's not, unless Lego says it, I feel like you can't take it for word. So I always try to be careful with that information because I don't want to be dishonest about it and say how many there were. So I usually say, oh, it's reportedly 1 of X, unless I actually know. And then I'll say it's one of such. So. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But you're absolutely correct. Unless Lego says it, you can't hang your hat on it. And even then, sometimes, as you can see, where they say 3 of 10 for sterling silver R2-D2, and then there's 3 more, but they have a different certificate. And then this just down here, I was fortunate enough to go on the Lego Inside Tour in 2023. And so these are just like some little mementos from that tour itself. And I was lucky enough to win a little designer trophy for my little build there. That's in the back on the right. And then the trophies are technically 1 of 1 created by Lego designers. I won best functionality because you can shoot the little bird and it hits the back of the cap
nice.
And it falls down. So I was pretty proud of myself for that for a couple of hours for someone that doesn't get to build that much. So good enough.
Then we'll move on to the next case.
It's a little cramped here in the corner.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's not a great way to rearrange. So. It was kind of funny. I had sent a picture of this on my Instagram, and someone said, "Oh, cool, wooden toys. So you collect stuff outside of Lego?" And I was like, "No, it's all still Lego." So this is my wooden toy collection from the 40s and 50s, and some, I guess, are actually from the 30s. So there's different versions of the Lego duck. Again, it looks like maybe I'm just trying to collect the same thing, but if you look at each of them closely, you'll actually see there's a lot of differences. So for these ones in the top. These are version 2 ducks, so you can actually see that they're kind of like cut out. The wings are cut out, and there's all different colorations, logo differences, very, very subtle, but they're there, and important enough to me. And then if you go down here, you can see now the wings are not actually cut out of the wood, but they're kind of stencil painted on, spray painted on, which you can see the process. There's like some videos and stuff of employees working on them in the 40s and 50s. You can also see that there's like some logo differences. So this is a logo, I think that started, I might misquote the year, maybe in 47, apologize if that's wrong, versus a logo back there, which was like the mid-50s on that duck in the back, which is pretty cool.
Kind of track the evolution of the company.
Exactly, yeah. And while the ducks themselves largely look the same, like even if I'll switch back, but If you go to this cabinet, again, like these colorations on these ducks look the same. The wear's a little bit different, but the logo is slightly different as well. And then, you know, they created more than just the pull-along duck. So this is the pull-along duck that will quack. But then there's also, you know, a small duck, a little bit of a larger duck that doesn't have that, you know, functionality with it.
Just really into the whole duck thing. They were over there.
They are, and they keep, you know, they're building up to their 100th anniversary, and they keep, like, doing a callback to the duck more and more. And it's already hard enough to find them, and I think they're going to become more desirable. But and then down here, just some other wooden toys again from 40s and 50s. So perhaps maybe the first Disney licensed product with Lego, you know, the Lego Pluto there. Yeah, that's a pull-along toy. The elephant was another really important piece of their history. And then I'll actually put on a glove to show the Lego gun. Which,
yes.
You know
when Lego talks about not making firearms.
The little liars now. So there's the Lego gun that actually it shoots Modulex bricks, which is pretty cool. Modulex
just a bizarre.
It's just a bizarre piece. There's also, I haven't added it to the collection, but I've seen, like, you know, they have Lego rifles and stuff like that, which is pretty neat. This is like a little rattle. There's a fire truck in the back there with firemen, little truck. Their most successful toy, the yo-yo, which is truthfully very challenging to authenticate. I believe this is a Lego one, but, you know, it doesn't have a logo per se on it. None of them do, so it's really difficult. And a lot of people, just like they do today, they like to copy off of the success of the Lego product. So, and then this is just, again, a kind of continuation of wooden toys, bunch of different animals. And then down at the bottom is their most popular plastic toy that they first made. I think it came out in 1951, the Ferguson tractor. And then in the back there, I always mispronounce it. Yurgsdale. Someone's gonna rip me apart for my pronunciation of that, but that is the Lego award, basically, that they give out once per year to someone that's made a significant contribution to children, basically.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
With some of this stuff here, do you have like a particular website or people in the community that you will sometimes go to and ask about? You mentioned like the yo-yo, kind of like some of that history of the early products of Lego. Are there any kind of sources you have that you go to?
I guess there's a group of collectors that like the old, more vintage stuff, and I'm part of lots of, like, there's some Facebook groups and stuff like that you can get involved in that can help a little bit with authentication. If anybody's ever interested in buying wooden toys, I always just warn them that you really should get it with the logo, because there's a lot of actually misadvertisement saying, like, if you go eBay and you look up Lego wooden toy, you'll actually find a lot of options on there, but maybe like 5% of it is actually Lego. And the other 95% were other, like, usually it's Germany, like Hans was a company that like almost has identical products, but, you know, they don't have the logo, but people will still say this is a Lego item, and it's not. So you just have to be careful, definitely.
No, that's good to know, yeah. So that kind of finishes out those cases there. We can take a look up top now then, and it looks like you've got a bit of a theme with these sets going here, so what are these?
Yeah, this is the Lego Inside Tour set. So like I said, I was fortunate enough to go in 2023 on the Lego Inside Tour. And so each year since 2005, Lego has basically hosted 30 to 40 people or so per tour. The number of tours each year varies a little bit. Now they're doing, I think, maybe 4 to 5. I think last year they did actually 6 tours per year. Before, I think they maybe did 1 or 2 as a possibility. And you have to, you know, pay for your way to get there. You have to pay for the tour, which is somewhat expensive. They take you like around the factory, give you exclusive access to designers. It's a really, really cool experience. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is at the end of it, they give you your exclusive Lego Inside Tour set for that year. And really, they've kept up a pretty good theme of it always being a callback to a part of Lego history, basically. So you have, you know, basically one of their first trucks they ever used to transport their products to Germany. One of the early molding machines, which was also a Lego house set, but they didn't have the first molding machine that they got in the late 40s. Call back to like one of the first Lego fire trucks. I think it was number 315 version 2 from the 40s. Piper airplane when they first opened up the Billund airport. One of them, again, kind of the first things to sort of transport product. Ferguson tractor, as we talked about, their most important plastic toy in early 1950s and honestly all throughout the 1950s. The Lego cars up there, as well as the one to the right where you just see Lego Inside Tour 05. I believe were both designed by Kjeld, but not released as official product back when he was a kid, and so now it was his chance to actually make them like a Lego
really
product.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then again, Lego Truck Show as a icon back to them going around with the Lego basically show, but run through a truck. Clumsy Hans, basically as a callback to the famous Danish writer.
Hans Christian Andersen?
Yeah, Hans Christian Andersen. And that was, I believe, something that was also designed by Dagny Holm, one of the first Lego master builders. And then, of course, the original house that you can still go and see in Billund. The Legoland train, that's in Legoland Billund as well. Tree of Creativity, again, a different version than the one that you could buy at the Lego house. Their Lego Factory AGV modules that basically transports the Lego bricks all throughout the factory. And then finally, of course, like the Lego house itself too. Or their business office, I forget the exact name for it.
I think it's cool that Lego has been doing more of this type of idea with that callback to the history through their Lego house sets as well, which is obviously like a much more accessible thing than the Inside Tour sets. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love those sets very much. I look forward to their release every single year, so it's a great product.
As we move into the corner then, we go into some other themes. I noticed Bionicle right off the bat. So what do we have over there from Bionicle?
Yeah, so this is kind of just random pieces over here for the most part. But these are like announcement pieces. So that's kind of like the first Batman announcement piece from San Diego Comic-Con in 2008. New York Toy Fair pieces from 2000. And I think it's 2004, that one on the top there. And then that's the first Bionicle announcement from 2000. And it still has the functionality that works if I'm careful to open it up. So then it lights up like that, and then you can pull this off. Yeah. So it's a fun little piece.
Super cool.
The battery's going to die out at some point, and I'll be really sad, especially since I keep opening up because I find it so cool. So
were those where were those sent out to? Were those weren't publicly available?
No, they were not. Okay. So just to people, I think that could promote the theme basically back then.
Gotcha.
And then these are two of the solid gold masks from 2015 that they did. So it's the Mask of Ice and the Mask of Earth. And there's, I believe it's 6 other masks in total, and would love to collect them all, but some people I know where all of them are, but some people just don't want to sell. So again, a waiting game, really, to try to collect them all and then be Thanos, as I like to joke around. And then that's a Minecraft, just a little llama that's signed by one of the creators of Minecraft. That was a VIP giveaway. That's one of 25. And then this is like a San Diego Comic-Con piece. I actually do like Lord of the Rings, and I've got all the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit minifigures, but they're just boxed up because I don't have display room right now, with a little Bilbo figure in a burlap sack, which, has to be worth so much money, right? And then this is the floor plan, actually, for the Connecticut, Infield, Connecticut, that are now replacing that you guys were just recently at, right?
Yes,
the
exactly.
New Richmond, Virginia factory.
So we're getting the new factory in Richmond.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty awesome.
It'll be cool to see what kind of public-facing operations they have there that people can actually go and interact with. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it'll be neat. And then that's a Razor Crest that you can get on Brick Vault that I believe was designed by Jarak, which is pretty cool. And then this is more just like... as you're going to end up swinging the camera over to the right, you'll see I like a lot of just kind of more unique Lego sets. Of course, I have kind of some more common ones, but that are just some of my favorites from growing up. But then I also like a lot of kind of co-packs, more unique sets that maybe you wouldn't see in your average Lego collection. I don't have all the sets, nor will I ever try to get like all the Star Wars sets, but just a lot of like callbacks to when I was a kid that I remember like seeing in store that are some of my favorites. Like this was actually one of my first Lego Star Wars sets that I ever got. I remember like buying it in the store and going home and building it. And then, a lot of these other ones are just, again, like co-packs. My favorite set ever, Jango Fett Slave 1 back there. set 7153.
Very unique with that packaging,
Yeah.
with the carrying case and everything is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to get just the set itself. I need to find a really nice mint condition copy of that set for display purposes. But yeah, a lot of these are just, again, more unique, like co-packs that some of them I've only seen maybe once ever being for sale. Other ones, you know, a couple times here and there, but they rarely come up. And most of them try to get, you know, good box condition as well.
And then what is this down here?
Yeah, these mosaics. So these are the pillars of creation. I believe all taken by the Hubble spacecraft, and they're given out to Lego stores like worldwide. And they're each one of 50. So you didn't know which mosaic your store was going to end up getting.
Oh.
Yeah, but these were official products in the Lego store that were on display. Yeah.
Now in this setup over here, do you have any of the various regional exclusives? I think there were some like in Japan, if I recall correctly, some Star Wars ones and things. I don't know if you've picked up many of that.
Yeah, a couple of them. So this is, I think, let's see, a Star Wars bonus pack. Pretty sure this was from. We'll see here. Maybe not that one, but I have like the Kabaya box. So that's like from Japan.
Yeah.
And see, like that. So that's like a sealed and box one. This is also, I think, also from Japan. Which, it's kind of ironic. This is like the Episode 2 collection, but if you look at that closely, you'll notice that none of those sets are from Episode 2. So I don't know why.
They never actually watched the movies.
No, I guess not. And I love the sticker on that too. It's like a cool little like Stormtrooper sticker. But yeah, little things like that. I think that's the majority of them. That piece actually that I showed back there, that's also from overseas too. And then some of these like co-packs and stuff you couldn't get in the States. Like this one I think was right here is only available in Europe.
Okay.
And a couple of the other ones too. I just can't remember off the top of my head which ones exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though, like comparing some of the like co-packs and the rarity of that compared to like what we looked at the beginning here, because they're both rare items, even though some of these were available like Target or something. Yeah. So very different availability, but they still become rare.
Yeah. No, absolutely. For sure.
So then as we turn the corner over here, what does this stack represent?
Yeah, maybe like this set a little bit too much, but this is the Christmas X-Wing from 2019 that they did. So Lego employees, you know, they get a Christmas gift each year. Some years better than other in terms of what set they get. So recently had gotten that. They got like the gingerbread house calendar, but then the year before they got this Friends set that wasn't very exciting when you compare it to this Christmas X-Wing with an exclusive Lego minifigure, the Yuletide pilot, which now goes for a fair amount of money. I think it's like maybe $500-600 or so.
I think this is definitely considered one of the better Christmas gifts in the last decade or so.
For sure, for sure. So I like the set a lot. I bought a fair number of copies when it first came out, as you can see. This one's pretty special, though. It actually is signed by all the current Lego Star Wars designers.
Oh, nice.
So I was fortunate enough to get a copy and get them to throw it around the round table and each sign it for me, which was great.
When you went on the inside tours, did you get a lot of stuff signed like that? Did you kind of bring stuff with you at all? Or
I did get a number of things. They're actually all under this table. But I did get a couple just regular set signed and stuff where you see a designer, and so you just run really quickly into the Lego house store and just like grab a product and bring it out to them, and they're like, I didn't even design this. And you're like, I don't care, just sign it. So, but they're all really nice about it, and they have just products that they'll go down there and they'll sign them, and they'll put them on the shelves and stuff, and then you can buy them for the same price you would otherwise. So that's always fun to do too. No,
that's a good pro tip. So if anyone's ever in the store in Lego House over in Billund, sometimes the designers will have gone in and just signed sets at retail price on the shelves there. So the kind of general access you have just to designers and Lego in general when you go to Billund is amazing. Even just kind of walking around. Yeah. That's kind of what the whole town is.
Yes, so. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool place. If you haven't gone, you should go. It's just tough to get there to some extent. Yeah.
So before we move into more Star Wars, you've got this build over here. And so what's the story behind this?
So this is, I would love to design things more than I have been able to, and I would wish I had like a bigger piece bank. But this is something I built basically over 3 years myself. There's some really great versions of Lego Minas Tirith online, and I used a lot of them for inspiration. One specifically by, I think Swan Dutchman was a big inspiration for me, but like there's no instructions, anything like that. So basically I had to kind of craft it and design it myself to some extent, and this was the final product. I actually brought it to Brick Fair, Virginia for just this last year actually. I hadn't been able to display it before, but it's kind of the biggest thing I've built. I think it's maybe got 25,000 pieces or so in total. I've also built some other bigger models, but with my time and my work, it usually takes me 2 to 3 years to build something like that, where someone could probably swing that out in maybe a couple of months or something for their yearly tours and conferences that they do. But I'm hoping in the next couple of years I'll have more time to be able to design stuff a little bit more.
Yeah, this is super cool, and I love that not only you build it, but you were able to bring it out to a show in Brick Fair, Virginia. One of the shows that we love to go to every year for anyone who hasn't been able to go there. If you're in the Washington, D.C. area at all, it's an amazing show every year, and highly recommend that.
It's a great time. So many good people. There's no better way to get connected into the Lego sphere than doing that, for sure.
Have you ever picked up anything at the yard sale that they do there when kind of people bring out?
I have, actually, yeah. I got at the... So they put on a little yard sale. Collectors and stuff like that can buy things from each other. I got this at the yard sale this past year. I think actually when I got to the Lego house earlier in the year, like in June, I got like the Lego Pirate House exclusive set, and then I traded it for this and like some cash basically.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, it's just I like this one because it's Jango Fett Slave 1. So
was that just a store display at some point?
Yeah, a little store display.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which I actually really like the store displays, but they take up too much room. This one's really small, so I can do it. And as you can see, there's a really big one back here. It's animatronic, basically Lego Darth Vader. I know it's really tucked in the corner there, so it's tough to get to. But those are the only 2 store displays that I have. I used to have more, and then when they take up 25% of your Lego room, I was like, I can't.
They do. No, some of them are really cool, but you're right. Whenever I think about picking one up, I'm like, where am I going to put this like giant rectangle?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So that does take us over to this wall where, of course, you see this massive minifigure collection.
Yeah.
So do you know how many minifigures you have displayed here?
It's whatever amount is the total Lego Star Wars minifigure collection, which I think we're in the 1300s now.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but my goal was to collect every Lego Star Wars minifigure. And some guy was parting from his collection years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago or something like that. And I think at the time maybe there's 800 figures or something of that nature. And so I bought it. I was really excited to get the first 800 figures. And now I've just created this basically real task and chore for myself that I have to keep the collection complete. So usually once a year I'll just like refresh it, buy whatever the year's figures were, pop them into the cases. As you can see, I'm running out of case space. So I'm going to have to buy more of these cases. It's a frustrating one sometimes too, because Lego will suddenly decide that like this Captain Fox variant. So I always forget which one's the new variant that they just added on. So you can see there's that little bit of gray that's on the torso of that one, and then I've got the other one down here where there's no gray on the torso. And they recently decided that, that's going to be a Lego minifigure that's going to be in the catalog, and we're going to count it as an official variant. So they gave it a number. So now, as you can see, there's no room to display it and pop it in there. So I'd have to move every figure down one, which would be over 1,000 minifigures to be able to do. So that's not a task I've gotten to just yet.
They're really messing with your system.
Yes, they really are. And then that's just that's an extra Jango Fett figure signed by the actor that played him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So with kind of every Star Wars minifigure here, what are some of your favorites, or maybe just ones that have some interesting stories about how you were able to acquire them over the years?
Yeah, no, for sure. My favorite one, I'm going to move this light out of the way here. It's always a little precarious. But, these are the original, I think, what people like the most. Well, there's the new promo now for that show. There's Jedi Bob, Jango Fett, just my favorite because as a kid I remember buying Jango Fett Slave 1 for 50% off at KB Toys. There's the ones that of course everybody loves, which I think the set is lame to be honest with you, but the figures go for a lot of money. So those are the Cloud City minifigures, the original Watto up there. There's a lot of nostalgia for a lot of these figures, just again, growing up with those sets specifically and putting them together. I've already shared my like for the Yuletide pilot. And then you have like a lot of promotional figures in this case, like Chrome C-3PO's up there. You've got the Chrome Darth Vader, White Boba Fett, back when they used to do all those minifigure polybags, which were awesome.
Yeah.
Like May the 4th, and or just putting them in random sets and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's tough to choose many favorites. I remember when the Queen Amidala came out from the Gun sub, that was one of my favorite figures. I just thought it was so well designed. And then down there to the right of this case, like the New York Yoda from 2013, you'll notice there's a space next to him. That's because there's quote-unquote 2 versions, one of them with gray hair, one of them with white hair. The one with the other color hair is just in the New York New York Toy Fair diorama that I've got down there on display. So I do have both versions, and I left a little space there.
Many years ago, when that promotion came out, we just happened to be on vacation with our family, road tripping through New York City for like the 3 days that they had the massive X-Wing there.
So you got to see it?
The Toys R Us, the Toys R Us store. So like one of the very early videos on Beyond the Break is of that huge X-Wing, and then we went into the Toys R Us and picked up one of the X-Wing sets there.
That's awesome.
With like the promotional sleeve over the set.
You still have it?
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So yeah, I'm not much of a Star Wars collector, but we just happened to like be there at the exact right time.
That's amazing. I love it. Well, when I was, I remember 2013, and I don't have any of these now before anybody asks, but there was some guy that lived in New York City, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll go to the Toys R Us store, and I'll get you the New York Yoda. And he's like, and then he messaged me later, he's like, I got 10 of them. And I was like, oh, how much do you want? He's $75 a piece. And now, of course, it's a figure that goes for like $6,000. I don't have them anymore. I just have the ones for my collection. But I sold them a long time ago. But I was like, oh, sure, $75 a piece. I guess so. So it's crazy how much prices have changed for stuff.
Does it still surprise you, like the market on some of this stuff, or at this point have you done it so much that the prices and the rarity doesn't really surprise you anymore?
Honestly, it's still shocking to me, to some extent, on how much this stuff goes for. Truthfully, if it was all still worth like $0, I'd still love it. I'd still collect it. I'm just passionate about Lego as a hobby in general. It's great that it's worth so much money, but that's not the primary goal for me by any means. Maybe it lets me rationalize buying some of the stuff so I can say, oh, it's an investment because it keeps going up. But yeah, I mean, the prices just keep going up, and it's been crazy, especially the last couple years, like when COVID hit. I mean, prices shot through the roof. They've settled for the first time ever. I feel like they dipped a little bit because they came down from the just pandemonium that was COVID and when the prices were at their peak. So they're still kind of unreasonable, but they're more reasonable than they used to be, I guess. But thankfully, I was able to buy a lot of this stuff before any of that happened, so much cheaper than what they go for now.
How has the rise of platforms like Whatnot affected sort of the market in sort of collectible minifigures and that type of thing? Has that escalated things? How has that affected?
I don't think Whatnot has changed things too much. I mean, I think Whatnot is pretty cool for providing like a live auction platform that, it's not as close to, say, going to a show like Brick Fair Virginia and getting to hold the figure yourself and looking at it, but it's closer than, say eBay and it just shows some pictures. I really feel like I haven't seen too much price difference from, honestly, I feel like sometimes stuff goes for more on Whatnot than it does on eBay. Perhaps it's just people, the comfort of knowing that they're buying from, a Lego specific person.
Someone they recognize.
Hear the voice, yeah, exactly. Someone they recognize, maybe a Lego personality. But, I don't think a lot of this stuff, aside from, of course, like the figures, they'll sell a lot of the figures, but a lot of the other stuff most people aren't selling on Whatnot, at least. Gotcha. I've done a couple of shows. It's been a really long time since I've done one, and I would always try to make my shows a little bit more unique and have some, like, exclusive Comic-Con or polybag figures, stuff like that, yeah.
So now we move down to kind of the top of the white cabinets here. If you want to maybe just start at the left side and take us through some of what you've got.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you go kind of all the way down, it's all like the Lego Star Wars poly bags that have been released over the years. These are just Amazon little cases. Everyone always asks where these come from, but they're just like coin collector cases, very simple to find. And then this is from San Diego Comic-Con 2008. I get a lot of grief for this every single time, but I'm not actually a huge Clone Wars fan, but I love the box art on this set. So, and then you open up the flap, and it's just 2 regular Lego sets, but then it includes 4 Clone Troopers and Captain Rex on top of that, which is, again, it's just kind of a cool box design.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy
it's
to see a
unique.
box of that size for an exclusive like
Yeah.
that. Normally they're much smaller.
Yeah, and you know this set goes for, I think the last one that I saw sold went for like 4,500, which is crazy because it never used to be that high. As I bang it into an item on the when setting it back down. And then these were also VIP giveaways. I know this was one of 3. This I also assume kind of was one of 3. This one you could actually win, again, like late 2010s as part of that same kind of giveaway as a sterling silver and a platinum R2D2. But if you were perhaps maybe a little bit more unfortunate, then you'd win that piece. But it's still really cool. It's just signed by the person that played TC-14 in the movies. Same for this over here. The actor that played Dutch Vader is just a little message and a little poster along with it, which is pretty neat. So I'm not like a big into, I know you've seen like a couple like graded pieces. I actually really don't believe in grading items, but they're like actual VIP giveaways and stuff.
Okay.
So that's why
Is
I
there a
have
reason
them.
for that? Like you don't normally do that?
Yeah, grading to me is like you're obviously you're sending it to someone that's going to look for like minor imperfections, but I've seen graders actually say like a Cloud City Boba Fett or New York Yoda. I've seen them grade something that was actually a fake before and like give it a value, like give it a normal score as if it's an authentic item. The cases they make for them I think are really cool, like the acrylic, like seal it up. I think that's awesome, but I think a lot of times, like, yeah, they have maybe a lot of experience in, say, comic books or something like that, or baseball cards, Pokemon cards. Lego, I think, is perhaps a little bit more challenging to be able to grade and authenticate to some extent, unless you have, like, tons of experience in it. And that's not who you're sending it to. You're really just sending it to people that maybe grade other things, and they're trying to grade this product. So I really have a tough time maybe believing the grade / more the authenticity of the item that they're selling. I don't think it adds much to it, and it's expensive. You know, it's expensive to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think Lego is also just so much newer than a lot of those other things in terms of like as a collectibles kind of industry. Yeah,
for sure. And then this up here looks like a little toiletry bag, but this is that Lucasfilm Yoda fountain piece that was given to Lucasfilm employees. Maybe there's like 1,200 or so of them. But what's interesting, again, in that Force of Creativity book, they're randomly including the instructions for the Yoda Lucasfilm diorama piece. But what they won't have, of course, is that super exclusive toiletry bag that everybody I'm sure wants, and then like a little lanyard, stuff like that. So, but at least people like the public will be able to build that and have the instructions for it, rather than it being a exclusive that nobody was expecting. So that's nice. And then that's just I think announcing the launch of the video game. Not my favorite piece, and it's not really that rare, but it fits really well there, so I put it there. It's basically the only reason it's there.
So this had like a digital readout?
Yeah, I think a little digital timer, and I'm sure I could maybe hook it up and figure it out, but I'm not very technologically capable, so I haven't. That's just another, I think that was maybe made by Edge of Bricks on Rebrickable, and I just thought it was a cool piece, so I made it. Built it from his instructions, and then there's just a little like Lego store sign. Yeah, that's all I think all the stuff along the top here for the most part. And then going down, these are all just items from toy fairs and New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con and Toronto's Fan Expo. That's what it is. So pieces from all of that are basically ambassador pass as well. It's all Star Wars, so these are all, as far as I'm aware, like the promotional pieces from all across the years. So I think it's a pretty complete collection. That's the 2013 Yoda diorama, and then also the little piece kind of announcing the movie, I believe, is what it was. This is from like 2005 Toy Fair Gala. So those are like the 2 invitation pieces in the front. It's just a regular light up Luminara and Anakin Skywalker, but the little platform and the plaques that are etched into it are unique. In the back is one of the first 100 chrome Darth Vaders, an announcement piece in 2009. This transformation piece, I'll get it out for you if you'd like.
Sure.
So this is just that regular, I just have to be a little careful with it. This is just a regular Darth Vader transformation set that anybody could buy. It's not even that expensive now, even though it's an older set. But this box that it's in is the unique piece, and I always like to pull it out because I think the box art is really cool on the back.
And that's really, I think, how a lot of these collectibles are. Yeah. It's right, like kind of the packaging,
Definitely.
or there's like one exclusive tile or something. It's not that you're really getting like the actual pieces themselves or anything too specific.
I would say there's a fair number of things that are like that. You know, Lego, yes, they like to make their exclusives and stuff, but a lot of the times, yeah, if you got the pieces together, you could build it yourself. You're just not going to have the box or the instructions or something like that. And for someone like me, I need that stuff. But for a lot of people, if you don't need it, you'll save a lot of money and you'll still get to enjoy a cool product. So that's what I would advise.
Angus McLean's Cube Dudes here. Yeah, so a lot of people say that Lego kind of took that and heavily inspired the Brickheads line.
Yep. Yeah, those they're really blocky, but they're very cool. Those boxes are extremely flimsy, so it's really tough to find good condition boxes. Especially that one signed by Angus McLean is not even that great condition of a box, but it's signed by him, so I wanted to have it. And those three along the back are just from Celebration, and New York Comic Con, and San Diego Comic Con one year. These pieces over here are just kind of announcing again Clone Wars from I think it's 2008, if I can recall correctly. These are other pieces again from just different San Diego Comic Cons, and some of them look the same, but as you can see, like those two Ghost variants right there, one is from Fan Expo, and then the other one is actually from San Diego Comic Con. They're both numbered out of 1,000, and you can see the figure is different. You either have Chopper or you have Canon Jarrus. And then the same for the Sandcrawler in the back. You either had C-3PO or you had R2-D2. And then that's a kind of continuation of these box sets over here, again, from San Diego Comic-Con. That Detention Block Rescue is from Celebration, but a really cool set. And then over here is more kind of Toy Fair pieces. So I think you already showed the 2013 New York Times Square diorama. And I'm not really huge into numbers, but I like the fact that this is number 2 out of 150.
That design is so much fun there.
Yes,
what a cool design. Yeah.
As you can see, that's the other hair color version, so that's the gray hair version. So
seeing all this makes me miss all of the exclusives they used to do. I know they were always very controversial in the community, but it really was cool to see the different stuff that would come out.
Definitely toned it down a lot.
No, dropping like the San Diego Comic-Con ones,
Yeah. And then again, this is from Celebration. That's a 2008 Toy Fair announcement piece, which this one is fun because it's currently turned to Star Wars, but maybe a tribute here, because if you spin it around, then it's Indiana Jones. So a little tribute to Harrison Ford there. This is one of 100 announcement pieces. Same for this one up here. It's one of 125, but this is from 2011, and it was basically an announcement of like Lego Star Wars Miniland. So if you open it up, you can see they have like mini land versions of Chewbacca, Han Solo, and then you could build Boba Fett, and that's what this instruction manual is for.
And yeah, we've since seen the Star Wars mini lands go away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Tragically. It'd be really cool to see, but missed my time to be able to go and witness them. And then this is from, I believe it's 2011, kind of Ambassador Pass, Han Solo and his Tauntaun, and there's the build version, and then I've got the bagged version in the back, which again, another piece where the only exclusive part about it is the bag that it's in the instruction manual. And then that's from San Diego Comic-Con as well, just a cool little like box art exclusive, and again, the interior contents, it's just like a Brickmaster poly bag and a little bit like a instruction stuff. That's a Toy Fair announcement piece, that white Boba Fett. Again, only exclusive part about it is that little piece of paper that's there saying that it's an announcement piece in the black box that it's in. And then everybody always loves again, I know it's tough to get around that corner, but the Walmart clone building box, which I don't have the 100 clones that came with it, but I do have the paperwork talking about it. I have the certificate if you like completed the event and stuff like that. But yeah, that's largely most of the stuff there.
This is spectacular. The fact that you've been able to build this collection and kind of display it all in one place here is so amazing. It's like a little mini museum almost in here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Maybe in a couple years or something, I'd love to open up a museum and make it like have like stuff like this on display. Maybe someone that owns a lot more sets that are built and stuff. Maybe a little shop on the side, a little mock display area for designers and stuff that maybe are from around the area to put on all that, and have a little hangout spot. Love to do it. I have a friend that did it in Poland, and it's a huge success, and everybody loves it. So yeah.
Nice. With all of this collection here, is there one or two pieces that you're missing, or maybe you wanna put a public service announcement out if there's like somebody that has like one item that you've always been looking for that they're looking to sell?
Man, there is the one thing I've learned about Lego is that there's no collection that's ever going to be complete, and that includes my own. Despite the being fortunate enough to own a lot of rare items, it's just there's so many things that all throughout the history of Lego, from wooden toys to even the Star Wars pieces, and owning some things that are one of one. I'm still missing so much stuff, and I know I'll never have a complete collection. So the list is very long, and I don't even know. Yeah, I would love to make a public service announcement, but if you have anything rare, feel free to message me on Instagram. I'd love to see it.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll make sure to put a link to your Instagram in the description of the video, so if people want to check you out there, or even really just see photos of a lot of this stuff and kind of appreciate more of the collection. It's a cool place to do that.
Yeah, and I love talking to collectors, so anybody that ever wants to write and just chat about Lego, stuff like that, I am very enjoyable. So, yeah.
Another question we get a lot when we do videos like this is about insurance. So a lot of people wonder kind of how you insure your collection. So what is your approach to that in terms of, obviously you've got a lot here.
Yeah, the valuation part of it is very difficult for some things that, again, are more rare or exclusive that, maybe they don't have, they come up for sale once every couple of years. So save your receipts is, I think, the most important thing, especially save your receipts for when you bought it and the price you paid for it. And then, as we've talked about a little bit, like Lego prices keep kind of changing a lot too. So if you ever see it come up for sale again and then it went for a lot more than what you originally paid for it or whatever, and you need to change the valuation on that item, again, kind of save the receipts. You may not be the one that bought it, but like print out a copy of that and show it to insurer and stuff like that. It's important to do. But yeah, definitely protect your collection because there's a lot of value in it.
And what is your approach in terms of kind of space? And obviously you have limited space, so do you ever sell anything from the collection or just kind of keep bringing more in? How does that work?
Well, I used to sell a fair bit more. I will fully admit I've become more of a hoarder in recent years where I just keep adding more stuff and I'm not selling as much as I probably should. But the hobby itself and the collection, I really... obviously, I have a job as well, separate from all of this, but I really try not to pull from the salary for that. And I basically have rationalized it to myself over the years that if I'm going to add a new piece to the collection, I've got to sell something else to be able to, again, validate the expense of all this. To just continuously add to it and be paying out of salary, out of pocket is not something I feel comfortable with. So basically, again, every time I want to add something new, I basically go to what's the bottom of the list for me in terms of what am I least interested in my collection. And that way I'm always building the collection to something that I enjoy more and more and more. You can see there's a lot of items in here, so I hold on to a lot of stuff, but usually I can find something that I'm a little bit more comfortable parting with. And that's also why, if you look around, I really don't keep duplicates of things or anything like that. If I do have a duplicate, that's the first thing to go, for sure. Yeah.
Are there any physical toy stores you found either in the US or maybe when you were in Europe or anything like that you found some really rare item? I know sometimes you'll hear stories from people just wandering into a toy store, specifically in Europe. It seems like where Lego has been around a lot longer. Have you had any experiences like that?
Unfortunately, no. And the same with the giveaways. People love to ask, oh my gosh, you win all these giveaways and stuff. They must be rigged. I didn't win any of them. I bought them from the original winners. I hope one day I do enter the giveaways, and I'm hoping one day I can say I've won one of them finally. No, there hasn't been too many. I mean, I guess I found actually at a Bricks and Minifigs, which this little Lego Movie promotional piece is not super rare, but it's not common at all. You'll only find a couple on eBay. And I was in Las Vegas for work, and I just walked into a Bricks and Minifigs just to see what it was like, and it was there. And they had a fair price for me, so I picked it up at that time. But you never know where you're going to find someone that's just decided to offload a couple of their rare pieces. And I really like the either Bricks and Minifigs or other kind of small Lego shops that are around that are kind of self-owned. That again, you'll find random bits and bobs and stuff like that people have turned in. So you really never know what you might find. There's also there's some markets around the Dillon area. Sometimes you can find wooden toys, I've heard, but of course when I was there I wasn't fortunate enough. I tried really hard, but I was not successful. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking us through the whole collection here. This
Yeah.
really is amazing, and I, again, love that you've been able to bring this all into one place. So your museum idea sounds amazing, and we will definitely make another video if you get that set up at some point. That'd be super cool to check out.
Would
Thank
love
you.
it. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys, so much for coming out.